You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. Celebrate good times.
Come on.
It's a celebration.
We're going to have a good time.
Tonight. Yay. 100 episodes. Can you believe it, you stupid bitch?
I can't. We're a century
We're
old.
a century old, and we do not look a single day over
25.
25.
We've lived 100 years.
100. Is
That's
that the
my
fucking
old person
Titanic?
voice.
I thought it was the chick from the
I
Titanic.
was. That's what I was picturing in my mind when I was saying that.
Lost the heart of the ocean.
You know me so well.
Yeah, crazy. 100 episodes. And have we got a episode in store for you?
A real doozy, if you will. A real doozy.
We're doing all things 100 tonight to mark this auspicious occasione. And we're also recording the Friday before the Tuesday it's released. So it's one of our most here to there episodes ever.
Fresh one.
Freshie. Yes. So anyway, this is
fresh off the mics.
Fresh off the mic, the FOMs, bottoms.
That's a bad joke.
We are Stupid Bitches Say What? The Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. And I see you've got a celebratory bubs in
my
hand.
crystal birthday glasses, please.
Oh, they look amazing.
They do. They are amazing. All the way from Germany, I believe.
Das Glasse.
Mm-hmm.
Sky
I think
Trinken.
that's actually what they were called, Das Glasse.
Well, I am doing Duolingo. And you are trinking the bubble.
Drinking the bubble.
Trinken, but I don't know if they call it bubble.
The bubble.
I think it's probably like splash of water. Wasser. Anyway, that's Kylie Cullett.
And this, my friends, my dear listeners, it's Sean Stupid Bitch Beto Hipkins the third.
The third. Cheers to 100 episodes.
Cheers, you stupid bitch.
Chin chin.
Hurrah.
So, what are you drinking? Stupid bitch.
Oh no, well, who's doing what? Because I'm just completely thrown because I'm so used to the rhythm of, pop culture being my thing that I lead.
It is.
And true crime being your thing. But this is just out of the box shit.
This isn't out of the box shit. It's
I'm not very good when I haven't got something to read from and I have to go on the fly. I stumble over my words. I mispronounce them.
Well, look, even with words in front of me, I mispronounce my words.
You do. Yes.
I think we're both guilty of that. That's you stupid bitch. Massachusetts. So let's just wing it. What are you drinking, Sky?
What am I drinking? Oh, you're going to be excited about this because, of course, it's 100 episodes. So I had to drink something as a celebration.
Nice.
And I have been rattling on about this for weeks and weeks and weeks, but it's the cheap version of the lovely Chandon. And
it is Chandon, though.
It is Chandon. No, that's what I mean. So it's Chandon, but they've marketed a cheaper range. So it's in the $30 area. And this is probably about the fourth bottle that I've had in recent times. And I tell you what, it's lovely. And I said,
can we just elaborate how recent these times are? We're talking this week, 2 weeks. No, not the.
Oh, right. Since I've drunk it, okay, probably 4 bottles in the last 4 weeks, maybe 3.
That's all right.
I don't know what year because they don't really always do a year on the champagnes, do they? But
it's more of a brute, I'd say, than the champagne does.
Tyler messaged me during my very, very busy day today at work and said, "Oh my God, do you want me to go to the bottle shop and get you something for the podcast tonight? Do you want bubbles?" It's very intuitive, my husband. He knows what's going on. I knew it was the 100 episode. I said, "Yes, please get me the cheap Chandon." And then they had 2 for $50. So he got me 2 for $50, but it looks like the real expensive Chandon, doesn't it?
Of course, yes, it does.
You wouldn't think if someone gave it to you, you'd be like, "Oh my God, someone brought me." And I remember I was drinking at a party a couple of weeks ago and everyone was like, "Oh, look at you on the Chandon." I was like, guys, it's the cheap one.
See, that's where you go wrong. You should go, "I know. The podcast is doing really well these days.
I know, I should totally say that. I've been gifted this to promote on my podcast. They sent me a crate. Would you believe that?
We did take a stance at the beginning. We wouldn't accept gifts, but God, we can't keep them back. Remember we both got a free case of naked wine?
Oh, I do remember that. Legit, that did happen. Yeah. Circumstances are questionable, but it happened.
It happened. And we had mentioned it in the podcast.
And we lived in different states. It was completely random.
Exactly.
But it's a lovely drop. I've banged on about it so many times, and I'm very much enjoying it. And I very much needed a wine tonight, even though I have many drinks tomorrow night.
I know.
But anywho, what are you drinking, you stupid bitch?
Well, I am drinking a red.
Oh, no champers for you.
No champers, but I did get a special bottle. I got my favorite.
Did you get the memo that it's like a celebration episode?
Max Cab Sav.
How much did you pay for it though?
More than $25, darling.
Well, tell us. How much did you pay?
Well, I think it was 32. But fuck, it goes down well. And there's a reason why it's my favorite. 2020 batch, would you believe? 8.6 standard drinks, and I'm already nearly halfway through the bottle, including this amount. Now, Sky, how's your week been, stupid bitch?
I never thought
you've already pray told me what you were drinking. We need to bring that back into it, the old pray tell.
I know we do. Pray tell, let me tell you about my week.
Pray tell, do.
Okay, so I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to say the thing that I know that you're going to say about this. But
is that because you're going to say it, or?
No, I just know what you're going to say. I'm totes in love with, I say Chappelle Rowan, but I say Chappelle, but everyone calls her Chapel.
It is Chapel, but I call her Chappelle as well, but it's Chapel.
Weird.
Chapel
so listeners, if you don't know, I think we have talked about it on the podcast, but I used to like this little ditty a little while ago that I got shown onto about maybe the beginning of the year, maybe end of last year.
Oh, it was last year. Definitely last year. It was mid last year.
And this was before she was the huge hit that she is now, but I only knew that one song. And recently,
Red Wine Supernova for the players at home.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you for that. They needed to know that. Anyway, so we were listening to it after the podcast had finished recording, and we were getting right into it. And you were like, "I really like this song." Anyway, she's blown up, of course. The Pink Pony Club is one of the best songs I think ever.
Pink Pony Club.
I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. And do you know what? It's one of those songs that like you only have to hear it once to love it.
And you're into it.
And you're into it and you just love it.
Well, Vinny is now known as Pink Pony Crunch, by the way.
I know. And
his own declaration.
But because you made me download some of her music the other week, which was actually, again, probably when he first started loving Pink Pony Club, because I hadn't heard Pink Pony Club, and you played it for me again one night after the podcast, and we were playing songs for each other. And I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. And then you made me download a whole bunch of her songs, but then I was doing the whole audiobook thing, so I wasn't listening to my playlist very often, so it didn't really come around on the rotation enough for me to get into it. But I've done the audiobooks. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I have been listening to music again when I'm cooking and when I'm driving in my car, etc. And heaps of other songs keep coming on. What about Hot to Go?
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
There's another one that I really like, but I think I am a little bit obsessed.
Yes, welcome.
And I already really loved her.
She's coming out next year, so you're coming.
We are going. I'm 100%. I don't know about Tyler. We can probably drag him if he knows that I really love it.
Kim from work's going to come as well. Vinny will be coming.
But I knew that you would love to hear that, not just from my own accolades and me saying that I was the person who discovered her, because to be fair, I did discover that song, but I didn't really get on the bandwagon until after Pink Pony Club, right?
Well, yes. Is this the thing that I wasn't allowed to say?
Yeah, I knew that you'd be like, well, did you know?
I did mention it to you at the races for Tyler's birthday, and you're like, who the fuck is Chapel Roan?
I did say that. I do.
And I said, you introduced me to her, you stupid bitch, and she's now huge. And you said, well, just always remember, I introduced you to her.
I did say that too. Anywho, I thought you would love to hear that I'm obsessed. She is my
I do.
obsession at the moment with music.
Do you know what other songs I love is Casual?
I think it's on the playlist, but I haven't really
It
got to it
is.
yet.
Is it
And there's a
casual now? Knee deep
oh,
in the
actually,
passenger seat,
oh,
and you're
oh my
eating
God,
me
yes,
out. Is it
yes,
casual
yes,
now?
yes, yes. I love that.
2 weeks and your mum invites me to a house in Long Beach. Is it casual now? And the other one I
Yes.
like is Kink.
That was the one I was thinking of, the casual one. That's the other one that I was thinking of that I've
Yes,
become obsessed with. I forgot that was what it was called.
it's
I
so good.
love that one.
Me
I
too.
wasn't sure that you would love that one
I
though,
fucking love it.
because she's talking about being in the
Getting eaten
passenger seat
out.
and getting eaten out. I was thinking you'd be go, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
it is a bit ooh, but I still
No
love the song.
thanks.
Not for me, but I'll support you. And I think it's Kink when she goes, "It's hard when it's hard."
I think I know that beat though. I can't. I think I've
It's
heard it.
hard,
But like I
so
said, they're just
hard,
popping
so
up. And as soon as I
hard.
see her name come up, I'm like, I'm listening to this, even if I hadn't heard it before. You know, when sometimes you put new songs on and you just skip them because you're like,
Yes,
I've got to hear it in the
I need
background a
to
few
build it.
times.
Yes,
Yes.
before I become.
But as soon as I see her name come up and it's her song, because I think you made me load like about 5 or 10 one night and I just
did.
put them all on. So now every time, and now I'm actually going to go and just go through her catalog and just put a whole bunch on as well that I think sound good. But anyway, I'm obsessed.
My kink is my karma is other one that I love.
I think I do have that on my playlist.
People say I'm jealous, but my kink is watching you.
Anywho, let's move off Chappelle or Chapel,
Chapel.
if you will. I prefer Chappelle.
I know, but that's just because you like Corby.
No, I don't. I actually don't like her at all. So then I'll talk about audiobook sadness. So it came to my attention late last week after listening to two audiobooks that I was obsessed with, and they were in a series of books that I had read years and years and years ago, like probably 15 years ago. Went to buy the books, couldn't get them except for a ridiculous price, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not going to pay for books that I used to own and I've given away. And then I found the audiobooks and then listened to them, was obsessed. That's all I did was listen to audiobooks every time I was cooking, driving, whatever, sitting in the bath, put my earbuds in, like listen to it. Anyway, so I all of a sudden I was in the third book of this series, and Spotify came with a pop-up and said, you've reached your limit of audiobooks for the month. So they're free books, but because you only get 20 hours audiobook per month in a premium subscription, I had to top up. So I'm like, okay, how much is it to top up? Thinking it's like $2 or something, because I already pay like fucking $25 a month for a family plan on Spotify. They wanted me to pay an extra $20.
Fuck that.
So I went online, Googled this audiobook that I was halfway through, right at the crux of a really killer part as well, because it's crime fiction. And found that Brisbane City Library, and I hope you're not going to be mad at me about this, but found that Brisbane City Library had them for free, and the book that I wanted I could check out immediately. It was available, so I went to check it out, and when I put my address in, it said, boom, boom, you live in Birkdale. You have to be in Brisbane.
You put my address
down.
And
the only address that I could think of someone that I specifically knew in Brisbane was you. I didn't use your apartment number, just the
11.
street. Okay, if you get a letter you're not going to get it to your unit, but if you just come and see like something hanging out of the mailbox because no one knows where to deliver it because I don't live there and there's no unit number, and you go, I could imagine Vinny coming home one day from his walk and seeing a letter poking up and be like, does that say Sky Collett? And then pulling it up and being like, where the fuck is Sky getting mail here?
Oh, babe, I forgot to tell you, they're moving in.
Also, happy 100th episode, Stupid Bitch. But I still have some more things I want to talk about.
Go.
So I was gonna say that I have had a pretty boring week because it's just been work. Haven't gone to the gym, but I've walked the puppy because it's been a bit crazy. We're going away tomorrow night for a little cheeky one-nighter. But I wanted to do a shout out to our amazing friend Tan, who did all the hard work in making our costumes for us.
Thank you, Tan. Totally appreciate it.
While I sat there just gossiping at her. And she really put a lot of effort in. She ironed them on and
Oh,
everything and
bless. Thank you
printed
so
them. And then
much.
the printer didn't work the first time. So it
Oh,
took her a
no.
good couple of hours. And we just rocked up on a Monday. And they had a new washing machine delivered and they were getting a new couch delivered at the end of the week. So they were like rearranging their whole house. And we just
And she
lobbed them. We're
just
like,
stopped.
hey. And she just
Bless.
stopped everything and
Thank you
just
so
did
much,
this for
Tan. You're
us.
amazing.
And she
Vinny
does
and I
listen to the
both thank you
podcast. And
from the
she's
bottom of
amazing.
our hearts.
So started some Christmas shopping, got you and Vinny a gift, plus
Oh.
matching gifts, actually, if you will. That's
Oh.
all I'm gonna say. Oh, and also I signed up to be on the rugby committee again.
Oh, God. In what capacity?
Just as a committee member, not as a canteen
Thank
coordinator.
God. I've got canteen that night. I can't do it. Well, we record on Thursday nights now anyway, mostly. So
Exactly.
it would have been fine. Why
So
didn't we
just
think to do that when you were doing your canteen anyway?
I
Why did
don't
we make
know.
our lives so much harder by putting these pressures on when we could have said, let's
I
just do
think
this?
we were at a less busier time in our lives and we enjoyed the Friday night getting drunk and
Yeah.
our social calendar was busy, but we could still maintain it. But I think, the lethargy,
The hangovers.
yes, that we feel on a Saturday when we still have things to do on a Saturday night and things to do on a Saturday has just sort of topped out a little
Zapped
bit,
it a
hasn't
bit.
it?
Yeah.
But TV shows, we finished Bad Monkey. We're also watching a show called Dark Matter, which is on Apple.
Oh, is that based on the Golden Compass?
No, it's
Oh,
based on a
that's his
book.
Dark Materials. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's based on a book by a guy called Blake Crouch that I read about 15 years ago, and then they've just brought out the TV show. I actually think that you would love it. We
Okay.
haven't finished it yet. It's very good. It's twisty sci-fi in a very different way. Think a whole series that's like Black Mirror, where it's a complete mind fuck.
Oh, wow.
But there's like super smart people involved, and it's like the evolution of technology.
Okay.
So I think it's totally your kind of show. Maybe not Vinny's.
Probably not, but I could make him watch at least one episode.
And it's got,
maybe
I always
two.
get them confused. There's Sam Worthington, who is in the Blue Man one, Avatar, and then there's the other, Joel Egerton.
Yeah.
I always get those two confused, and Tyler always yells at me. He's like, "How do you get these two people confused? They are so different. The only common thing that they have is that they're Australian." I'm like, I don't know. I just always get them confused.
That's what confuses me.
Also, 27 Days to Bali, please.
Yay! So exciting.
Now, anywho, how's your week been, you stupid bitch?
Oh, pray tell, let me tell you, please. My week, as per usual, has been good. Now I am going to have to do a little Menendez update.
Oh God, that's 3 weeks in a row.
There's a lot happening, and I realize that this is going to be a bit back to front for our dear listeners because we're recording this episode, as we said, literally days before we release it, and we have 2 eps that have already been pre-recorded up our sleeves, which will be released after this. So a pulse
all over the place,
but you'll understand after listening to the other 2 eps. I have had quite the obsession with the Menendez brothers.
Stick with us, please.
A memento perfecto. So we watched the documentary that came out on Monday on them on Netflix. It's to do with them directly and talks with them and all this shit.
Familiar.
Very good. I've obviously watched the Ryan Murphy production. Both were excellent. But the update for you is from the Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon announced on Friday, the 4th of October, that a new hearing has been set amid new evidence for Lyle and Eric's murder case. So Eric and Lyle's legal team previously filed a petition with the court after singer, Roy Roselio alleged he was drugged and raped when he was a teen by the brother's father, Jose Menendez. So that gives a whole lot more credibility to the sexual assaults that they were talking about from their father during their cases, but they weren't allowed to use that evidence in the retrial because the judge thought it was all hearsay and and there was such a more of a disbelief that little boys got sexually abused back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s,
especially wealthy ones,
because of homophobic beliefs, and that's all ties into the reason why they had the hung jury in the first time. So when they get retrialed, because they were allowed to put that in as part of their defense, the only 2 options were life imprisonment or death. they couldn't get manslaughter or anything like that, which is what they went for the first time. So because all the shit's come out and the new letter and a newly discovered letter that Eric wrote to his cousin Andy describing his father's alleged sexual abuse months before the murder, they have said in a press conference that there could be potential for resentencing or possibly even a new trial. So the court date for this decision is set for Tuesday, 26th November this year. So can you imagine my update in that our final TC of this season? Because it'll be right after that. Oh. Anywho, the other things I want to talk about, a couple of TV shows. I think that's really huge, though, about the Menendez things. And you know what's crazy? I remember when OJ happened, because OJ happened right after the Menendez.
Yes.
I don't really remember too much about the Menendez. I just remember it just being in the background a little bit here and there.
I remember hearing that some kids killed their parents. Yeah. That was about it. And there were two brothers. Like, that was about the extent of my knowledge, or even, you know.
But it was a media circus in America, and then OJ happened, which absolutely blew up. Anyway. So the other things I wanted to touch on was a couple of TV shows. So Perfect Couple on Netflix. Have you watched it?
Okay, don't give me any spoilers, because it was a book before and I've just ordered the book and I want to read the book first before I watch the TV show.
Okay, no spoilers, of course, but it's a whodunit that it stars Nicole Kidman,
yes,
Liev Schreiber,
yes.
Side note, I had to Google to get his name because I couldn't remember his name off the top of my head. It was just one of those moments.
How do you not know who he is? He was married to Naomi Watts for years. They've got 2 children together.
Every now and then you get mind blanks. What's that word again? What's that word again? And I couldn't think what his name was. So instead of Googling Perfect Couple cast, I just went to my go-to, which was Scream 2. So I remember him in that. I did Scream 2 cast. Scrolling through. Have you seen Jamie Kennedy lately?
No, I haven't. That's a blast from the past.
Because it came up with the Scream 2 thing. Scream 2. So, I mean, I get he's 7 years older than me. Yes, Sky. He is 7 years older than me.
But old as fuck.
Damn, he looks like he has seen some shit over the years. He's got
some people don't age as well as us, Bino. I'm sorry to say.
I don't even think it's like just through general aging. There's been a lot of abuse I think that body has undertaken, and that's coming from us. Me.
Well, did you see the Muriel's wedding thing I sent you today?
No.
Of all the old cast members saying happy 30th birthday to Muriel's wedding. I sent it to you today on Instagram.
Was it on Instagram? Oh, come on. We both go through days where we don't catch up. Anyways.
I go through days where I keep sending you stuff and I haven't even read your stuff that you've already sent me.
I've sent you shit.
I'm like, I'll get to it, but I'm just going to send you more stuff that I'm seeing.
Exactly. But anyways, it's an all-star cast. It's got Dakota Fanning, Eve Hewson, who's Bono's daughter. She's in Bad Sisters and a heap of other good stuff, and she's actually quite a good actress. Megan Fahey, do you know her? Or Faye, F-A-H-A. She's in White Lotus season 2.
Okay.
And look, it's good. I wouldn't say it's Big Little Lies good. And I preferred Bad Sisters, which is the same sort of theme of whodunit. It was still enjoyable. We went through it all. The other thing I want to say is Heartstopper season 3 came out. So you may recall me discussing the show a few seasons ago.
It's a huge TikTok book thing. Everyone's like, it goes on and on and on about it. I had to like hide notifications from it because I was so sick of seeing them.
Well, when I first discovered it was when season 2 came out. And I think it's such a good fucking show. Like there's totally teen angst that you just roll your eyes at. But they've done representation in it so well, and it's typical teen struggles, hating parents, all this, but there's all these other things to it. And look, I just love it. It has a nice little wholesome show.
I know. I think you did it on a podcast a while ago and you said it was a different representation. If you had it when you were growing up, then, you know, maybe you would have like looked at things a little bit differently because they never had shows like that.
Definitely. So it's great for
when
that.
When you were a teen, a little tiny teen, baby no.
When do you think of all the confused teens
little tiny heterosexual baby Bino.
I had Queer as Folk UK, which was my age and around that time too, so that was all right. But that's my week.
Yeah. Wow. So I feel like you're starting it, right? Because you're going to do the whole...
Well, I've got 10 quick fun facts about 100.
You go first.
All right. So
I insist.
Okay.
Insist, I tell you.
In Old Norse, which is Nordic, which is my Scandinavian heritage.
Oh, you love his research, guys. He goes deep, doesn't he?
The word hundrad, Hundrad, from which our hundred derives, originally meant 120. What a peculiar
The age you are.
What a peculiar fucking number for 120. I wonder what they called 100. 120 is 100. Until the 19th century, long hundred was still a term used to mean 120. So especially in the measurement of numbers of fish sold. So if you said, how many fish did you sell?
Fish sold.
It's
okay,
between 100.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. Now it makes
100.
sense.
Yeah. I want to know what 160 was. A really long 100. A particularly long 100. That one.
Of fish.
Of fish. The 100th most populated country in the world is. Have a guess. Starts with a B.
I'm terrible with fucking any type of. I was going to say Russia or the US, but it's B. Ooh.
And it's the 100th most populated. I think the US and Russia are probably a bit more up there.
Oh, the 100th most populated. That's popular. With a B.
Yeah.
Is it Bali?
That's not a country, you dumb bitch. That's in Indonesia. So no.
You were looking at me like I should know the answer, and I was like, I can't think of countries' named that starts with B.
And you had the nerve to give me shit about not remembering Liv Schreiber's name. And it's not like John Paul. It's Liv Schreiber. It's Bulgaria.
Everybody knows Liv Schreiber.
Well, everyone could say you didn't even go Belgium. It's Bulgaria, you dumb bitch.
Well, I knew Belgium wasn't 100th.
Well, you thought fucking America and Russia were. Why wouldn't Belgium be 100th? That's a small country.
It's heavily populated, though.
Anywho, the longest car ever made was a 100-foot Cadillac.
Are you intellect shaming me?
No,
is that what's happening here?
It's the only time I feel smarter than you is when I've got the answer right in front of me. I'm like, come on, you dumb bitch. How can you not know that?
I'm terrible with geography. I'm so bad. I missed that when I was in primary school because I went to Queensland, okay, for 3 weeks. It took me out of school, and I
hated geography when I was a child at school. Hated it. I thought it was the most stupidest subject.
And now you're the most well-traveled person I know.
So the longest car ever made was a 100-foot-long Cadillac. It had 26 wheels, a swimming pool, a jacuzzi, a helipad, and a hinged section in the middle to enable it to turn corners. Talk about pimp my ride.
Where do I get one of those? But I'd prefer it in a yacht. If I'm really...
Even a plane.
If I'm being honest, give it to me in a yacht.
Could you imagine the wanker driving down the street with that and a helicopter coming and landing on it while someone's in the jacuzzi?
Imagine the splashes.
Yeah, totally. Hit the brake too hard. The fucking
just trying
water
to have a swim, guys.
Flies everywhere. Just doing my laps.
Fucking land on the freeway.
Get your head cut off by the helicopter coming in.
It's a health and safety nightmare right there.
It is. Another one. And look, you may have more of an idea about this. The sum of the cubes of the first 4 integras is equal to 100, which I have no idea what any of that means. And I don't actually mind.
Cube is a square.
Cube is
3-dimensional square, I think.
I don't know. What's an integra?
It's hard to say.
And what's the 5th one if we're talking about the first 4? I don't understand.
Don't talk maths to me when I'm halfway through a bowl of cheap Chandon, you bitch.
Expensive brute, but cheap Chandon. So
it came out of my nose then.
100 men.
I really need my snot rag. 100
Men and a Girl, a movie made in 1937.
That's 101 people.
It's just not Dalmatians. Not Dalmatians and a girl. Actually, I didn't think about that. That's actually quite disturbing, and I don't know if it's a porno. I don't think it is because
like it has to be, right?
It's the only film with the word 100 in its title that has ever received an Academy Award. So maybe it was an old-timey porn that got nominated for Academies.
They don't do porn in
It was 1937.
They definitely didn't do porn in the Oscars in 1937.
The porn may have been just seeing a bit of ankle or something. Harlot. So the 100 Years' War between England and France actually went for 116 years. We've been lied to all our lives. It started in 1337 and ended in 1453. Especially when we're talking about war. Every year counts. The 100 most common words.
Yeah. I haven't done that in a while.
Hasn't. The 100 most common words in the English language account for 50% of all we speak or write. It's interesting, don't you think?
Definitely.
Among the 100 most words used in English, only person and because have more than 5 letters. So I'm thinking there's a lot of its, ands, ofs, whys, hows, wheres, watch.
That whole sentence just lost me. And my eyes glazed over for a second because I'm still in the math problems. I'm like,
you got that, what? You're the meme with all the things flying around, the pyramids and shit, figuring out what an integra is. All right, and so for our final fun fact, official figures show that there are now around 4,250 people aged over 100 years old in Australia. However, wow, this is believed to increase to more than 50,000 by the year 2050. So we've got a good chance we'll still be doing this podcast when I turn 100 in the year 2077. Because if you think it's 50,000 in 2050, it's going to be at least 100,000. You and I
are not going to live till 100. I'm telling you right now.
Times are changing.
On the cards for us.
Times are changing. I don't want to be
100. I don't want to be frail and weird and having someone shower me all the time and not being able to drink alcohol because I'm in a home where they're like, you can't have alcohol in here. No.
I remember seeing an interview with a woman who was 104 and her secret was drinking a glass of brandy every day.
I drink more than one glass of something.
Yeah, I know, but she's 104. That probably still rips up. But I feel like when we looked at the Golden Girls when we were children and they're in their 50s, and we're about to be in our 50s.
Rose was 46.
There you go. So when we look at people who are 100 now, we're just going to look like Rose. Younger than
you dumb bitch.
We're just going to look at like Rose as she was in the golden age when we were 100.
It's cool. My son already looks at me like I'm 100 and ancient. And
that's always going to happen until they learn. You all get older.
Yeah, I know. It's so true.
And you all rue the day. It will
happen to you, my child. It will happen to you.
Exactly. But that's my top 10 fun facts about the number 100.
Well, it's very funny that you're ending on that topic because I'm going to talk about what it was like 100 years ago. And did you know that life expectancy was shorter 100 years ago?
I did. I'm going to say we're talking max. So what year would that be?
1924.
70? Or am I being generous?
You're being very generous. In the United States, a life expectancy for men in 1924 was around 53.6 years.
Jesus, I'd be on my deathbed.
For women, it was 54.6 years. Now how they say women always live way longer than men. Well, not in 1924, they didn't. Just a smidge, just a tiny smidge.
Yeah, that's because
that's because they couldn't cope anymore because their husbands made all the money and then they died. They were like, oh my God, I can't buy anything anymore.
And no one's going to marry you now, you spinster.
Yeah, well, they were 54 and they're about to die.
On average.
The main causes were heart disease, pneumonia, and tuberculosis.
Oh, TB.
I know.
So I killed my granddad.
So what was it like 100 years ago today? The world was recovering from a pandemic. What?
Yes.
No way.
Holy cannoli. What was said pandemic?
The said
Monkeypox?
pandemic was the Spanish flu, infected about
Ah,
27% of the world's population. It was
Jesus.
estimated to have killed at least 50 million people. Well, it
And no
sure
one
does
blames
come
the
around again,
Spaniards,
doesn't
do
every
they?
100 years we need a pandemic, I feel.
And I feel like 100 years before that, it would have been the Black Plague.
It was actually 1920 when these figures were actually, because if you think COVID was actually 2020.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? So, guys, if you're listening, if you're a young,
For those people who have found
whippersnapper,
our episodes Lost in Space in 2120, brace yourself, bitches. Shit's
100
going to
years,
get
you're getting
wild.
a pandemic
Shit's going to get
again.
wild. It could be the
So,
stupid bees virus.
100 years ago today, the automobile industry was born. Boring.
Is that Ford or Holden? Ford.
I said boring, so I didn't actually give a synopsis about it because I don't care.
Was that George Bentley who did that?
So, what was it like 100 years ago today? Alcohol was prohibited. Both interesting and outrageous, please.
Yes, that's why we would be in the speakeasy forever.
The 18th
Mixing
Amendment
some moonshine in our bathtub.
The United States Constitution went into effect on January 16th, 1920. Most historians believe that it was during this time that organized crime began to increase black market alcohol, bootleggers, moonshiners, and speakeasy.
Of course.
And they were part of the 1920s landscape.
Anybody who is anybody's going to walk on through that door at Fat Sam's Grand Slam Speakeasy.
Okay.
That's from Bugsy Malone, please.
What was it like 100 years ago today? Women could finally vote. Thanks for that, gentlemen.
Yes, what a stupid fucking thing to ever exist.
I know. What was it like 100 years ago today? Radios were a main source of entertainment. Imagine that.
On the
no
wireless.
Television for you.
Listen to my stories.
This podcast would be about the radio.
Totally.
This is what I heard on the wires today.
I was listening to Kate, Tim, and Marty yesterday, and
the most popular occupations 100 years ago were teachers, nurses, maids for women.
Oh.
What? It's so laughable. While men were mostly farmers, doctors, lawyers, and bankers.
Well, I mean, I'd rather be in the women's line of work, to be fair.
I'd rather actually not be working if I really had my preference.
Homemaker, yeah.
But having a rich lifestyle.
Oh, 100%.
What was it
Vinny,
like?
my husband, wanker, I was going to say banker, while I was the home help.
You couldn't live in a house together, the two of you.
I would be a butler.
100 years ago.
I'd be a butler.
Living in shame and secrecy.
We'd be having secret rendezvous in the butler's pantry.
He'd have to have a wife. He'd have to have a beard hanging out.
A
whole bunch of kids.
We'd find a lesbian that was okay with that.
Look at this kid. Yuck.
Looks nothing like me.
No, you cannot have any dinner. Yuck.
No, we'd all be best friends.
What was it like 100 years ago today? What was it like 100 years ago today? Jazz and dance clubs were all the rage.
Jazz and dance.
Dance clubs were all the rage. And I'm not talking woo, woo, woo.
Oh,
dance clubs. I'm talking, let's do the ballroom blitz. Well, no, even that's the 80s. You know, what are the old-fashioned dances that we know of?
The jitterbug.
That was later.
That's the 20s, isn't it?
The
90s, 20s.
No, well, the jitterbug's like wham. Do the jitterbug.
Yeah, I think that's based on the jitterbug dance. Roaring 20s dances.
Also, what was it like 100 years ago today?
The Charleston.
Oh, the Charleston.
The Black Bottom.
Oh, the Black Bottom.
The Foxtrot.
The Foxtrot. I've done the Foxtrot a lot, I must say. I'm very, very good at the Foxtrot.
What about the Texas Tommy?
Definitely done that before.
And we've all done this.
That's the one where you do these ones.
Is it? That's jazz hands, isn't it? And we've all done this one, the shimmy.
Dev's done that. What was it like 100 years ago today? Hats were essential to fashion. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Beano? You just wish that hats were back in style.
Well, I would if they'd make them a bit bigger for my head. Things have come along now. I can get wide-fitting shoes and shit off the internet.
Well, definitely in the 20s, they probably weren't importing a lot from, China and stuff like that.
Oh, they would have had hat makers. It would have been totally custom made. The Mad
Hat for life.
I'd have a hat
You'd buy a hat when you were, 10, and then
Vinny,
you'd have that hat till you die.
My secret
you only
husband,
afford one hat.
My secret husband, Vinny, would gift me many hats as his butler.
Psst, excuse me, butler.
My hat's tattered. My hat's tattered. I need a new one, Vinny.
Don't tell the wife and the children.
Where did you get that beautiful peacock-themed hat? Made it myself. Made that myself from the peacocks in the garden.
Oh, stop it. I'm crying. Okay. That's it.
Very good. Oh, so I actually quite enjoyed that. Thank you.
I thought you would.
So now we've got your TV shows and then the top 10 pop cultures.
Oh, I'm going first. Okay. So the first one is the 100th episode of Friends, and it's aptly titled The 100th. It was a big one. It was when Phoebe gives birth to her brother's triplets. It was both emotional and hilarious, making it a fan favorite.
Oh.
So
and they used to name all their episodes the one with or the one something, didn't they?
Yes, they did. So Phoebe arrives at the hospital with the group where she tells the nurse at the desk that she is in labor. So you haven't really seen all the Friends, though, have you? You're not like me who's seen it over and over and over and over.
It's not like Will and Grace for me, no. I've seen a lot of it, but I trailed off towards the end.
Yeah, okay. See, I've seen it probably a couple of times in my life, and then I got reinvigorated when Matt Perry passed away.
Yeah, I started watching it then too.
Yeah, and I got pretty deep. Like I got about 4 or 5 seasons in, I think. And then I lost interest. So yeah. But in Phoebe's hospital room, Ross and Rachel enter with bad news. Her doctor fell and hit her head in the shower, meaning she's unable to make it to the birth. The replacement doctor, Dr. Harad, assures Phoebe that she's in good hands until he spontaneously declares his admiration for Fonzie from Happy Days several times. Phoebe demands that Ross find her another doctor. Meanwhile, Joey's in a hospital room of his own where a doctor informs him that he is suffering from kidney stones. As they are too close to his bladder, Joey is given 2 options: wait until he passes them naturally or have a procedure, which he finds too invasive. Opting for the former, he gives birth to kidney stones concurrent with Phoebe's birth.
Oh,
there was a whole lot more in that, but it's actually quite a boring episode. It's not one of my faves, except for the fact that she has the triplet babies, which were fake babies anyway.
Yes. And she gives away to her bro.
Yeah, because she got them,
artificially inseminated.
Yes. Do you remember that episode though?
Not really. I remember when she was pregnant and shit like that. I probably have seen it because I thought Joey had appendicitis when you started talking about that. So I think I may have when it first happened.
The classic thing I think about the whole time that Phoebe was pregnant, though, was the fact that she was a vegetarian and then she started craving meat.
That's right.
When she was pregnant. And so then Joey swears off meat in previous episodes because he was like, I'll do that for you, Phoebes, because I love you so much. And
did they live together?
No, they didn't live together. But he's making a meat sandwich and she's like pregnant and then just takes a bite out of it. He's like, oh my God, because she's so anti-meat.
Yes.
And so he agrees because she can't stop eating it that he will give up meat while she's pregnant so that she can eat meat. And he does it until they're in London. And then he eats meat the whole time because he's like, I'm in a different country. It doesn't count.
Bless.
Oh, I love Joey. Although his show was shit.
Oh, it was terrible.
Okay, so the second one is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The 100th episode, The Gift, is a major turning point in the series. Buffy sacrifices herself to save the world, making it one of the most powerful episodes in the show's history. Was it, though? I feel like the singing and dancing one was one of my favorites.
There's quite a lot more favorite episodes. It was iconic.
Yes.
But that's one I really, really, really want to put my mind to getting into back in watching.
I
It's just
started
hard.
watching it too. Actually, not like probably we were living in this house. We've been here nearly 3 years. So we're living in this house and I started watching it. And Tyler gave me so much shit every time I was watching it that I just ended up stopping. And not because of that, but I just think I forgot that I was watching it.
Yeah.
And it's also the Glory episodes. Are you ready? Because I'm going to give the full synopsis. And I know you
They're my
love the Glory
favorite.
season. I know you love it so much.
That's season 5, isn't it?
But when I started watching it, I was fucking hooked. Even though like the special effects were terrible and the storyline was just like, oh my god, Buffy, get over yourself. She's so annoying. But it was really good. So I think I could probably do it from the beginning again as well.
I find it hard to get through the first season. The first 2 seasons, I think, for me, are pretty hard to get through.
You know what I do when I want to rewatch a show that I love and I don't like certain seasons? I just skip them and start from where I love it.
My OCD won't let me do that.
Anywho, let's talk about the 100th episode of Buffy. The Scooby Gang considers plans to foil Glory, which, do you want to tell them who Glory is?
She's a demigod. Is she a demigod?
I think so.
Yeah, she's a demigod and she's looking for the key.
Yeah, she's looking for the key, which is Dawn, the sister,
Dawn,
which had just popped up at the beginning of the season. We were like, what the fuck? Buffy has a sister?
Yeah, I loved how they did all that.
Well, I was living in the UK and I remember because you couldn't really get, like, there was no streaming back then. It was just free to air TV. And I remember one night I was like flicking through channels when I was living over there and I saw like the new season of Buffy had come out and they were putting it on like really late at night and I put the episode on and I was like, and then there was the sister and I was like, and I remember looking at the episode selection going, this is the first episode. What have I missed? Have I missed a whole season? Yeah. Like, I don't know what's happening. And that was the whole thing. Like it ended, she didn't have a sister, started the new season with a sister. And Mom, everyone was like freaking out. Yeah. Like, but again, the internet wasn't like it is now where you could just look it up and go, why is there a new character that says it's Buffy's sister and she's never had a sister before? You couldn't get those answers. And no one had the
scoop. Yeah. But yeah, no, I loved Glory. And she used to change with that guy.
The doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Scooby Gang considers plans to foil Glory, but can only suggest killing Buffy's sister Dawn before Glory uses her in the ritual, which means Glory's going to come back to Earth. Yeah. Buffy refuses to consider. Anya, who went out with Xander, yes. You know, she was also a demon.
Like bunnies.
Suggests using the Dagon sphere, which repels and confuses Glory, and the hammer of Olaf the Troll. Yes. They hope to delay Glory until her deadline for completing the rituals has passed, preventing an apocalypse and making Dawn useless to her. As Buffy trains with Giles, she reveals to him that the first Slayer told her, in a vision quest, the death was her gift, an idea she rejects. Buffy also notes that whilst she survived killing Angel despite loving him after the loss of her mother, she knows losing Dawn will destroy. Because that season was also when her mum dies, remember? And Dawn was in that. And they come home and she's just had a brain aneurysm and she's like dead on the couch. That was fucking a messed up episode.
That was super sad.
Meanwhile, Xander proposes to Anya. At first, she's upset, believing that he's doing it because the world will end. But after he reassures her that he wants to see the world safe because he truly wants to spend the rest of his life with her, she agrees to accept if they survive. As Buffy and Spike gather weapons, she asks him to protect Dawn. Spike tells Buffy he knows she will never love him, but is grateful that she treats him like a man rather than a monster. We know what happens after that in the next season.
She loves him.
With the window of time to stop the ritual about to close, the Scoobies, which is the group of all the Buffy guys, spot someone up on a scaffolding with Dawn. Willow telepathically tells Spike to go up to Dawn, and she and Tara magically clear a path. Tara is Willow's girlfriend, and Willow is also one of the main characters. I skipped past that. Magically clears a path for him by throwing aside Glory's minions and guards. Spike finds the demon Doc threatening to start the ritual. A fight ensues, but Doc tosses Spike off the scaffolding and then cuts Dawn with shallow slashes that bleed steadily, starting the apocalyptic ritual. Buffy reaches the top, pushes Doc off, and frees the captive Dawn just as the portal closes between dimensions opens. Dawn is willing to sacrifice herself to seal the portal, but Buffy, comprehending the true meaning of the first Slayer's revelation, stops her. Realizing that since Dawn has her blood and that her own death can stop the ritual, Buffy throws herself into the portal, which closes when she dies, leaving her friends devastated. She is buried with the epitaph, "She saved the world a lot."
Many, many times.
She didn't do it on her own, okay?
Yeah.
She had a group of people who helped her.
AKA the Scooby Gang.
Okay. So I'm going to go the 100th episode of The Office, which is called Company Picnic.
I knew you'd like that one, yeah.
It's known for its memorable moments, especially Jim and Pam's big news and awkward company-wide picnic hashtag best show ever. I love this. And you still have not gotten into this and it kills me. It's a slow burn. It's a super slow burn. You've really got to stick with it to really understand. And when you do see it from end to end, you just will never, ever go back.
What do you think about them doing the Aussie version?
It looks terrible.
I think it might be okay.
Terrible. Oh no, I saw the trailer and I was like, yuck, I can't even.
I know. I'm excited about there being a female manager as the lead. I'll give it a crack.
Oh, well, you give it a crack and you tell me, but from the trailer, there is no way in hell I'm watching it because it looks awful. It doesn't. The jokes are terrible. Like, you know, when you do a trailer, you put a few jokes in to grip people in and be like, hey, it just looks awkward. It looks bleh, yuck.
Yeah, there was one character I was like, oh, they're trying too hard. But
yeah, anyway, I could be wrong because actually, to be fair, the whole Office looks super awkward. The first episode, you're like, oh, this is so awkward and yuck and gross, but then you go through it. So employees arrive at the Dunder Mifflin Company picnic where Michael Scott, main character, Steve Carell, if you will, plans to win back his ex-girlfriend, Holly Flax, who is the love of his life. He's had multiple girlfriends up until this point, but Holly Flax is the one that he's supposed to be with. He's not seen her since she transferred to Nashua because she got a transfer with work because at work they found out that they were having a relationship and they decided to transfer because they were both in senior management, right? And as soon as she went back, she hooked up with her old boyfriend. So Holly arrives with her boyfriend, AJ, who tells Michael the couple are designing a house together. The CFO of the company allows Michael and Holly to do a presentation about the history of Dunder Mifflin. Just laughing thinking about it. And the two spend time in the woods to come up with ideas. So these two people are the biggest, awkwardest, like special people ever. Like their comedy is just terrible. Their jokes are awful, and both of them just completely get each other. It's just like
nice.
It's just super awkward. Jim Halpert and Pam Beasley run into Charles Minor from the first time since he left Scranton, and Charles is short with Jim. The Scranton branch faces off against the corporate branch, commenting that they deserve to lose for deciding to close down a local branch. The game is close, and Pam ends up injuring herself during the game, and she wants to continue. Seeing an opportunity to remove the team's best player from the game, they insist that Pam takes a seat on the grounds of her injury being a company liability. Determined to beat corporate, Jim, Pam's husband, takes her to a local hospital to get an x-ray while Dwight, another character stalls the game to give them time to get back. When the doctor calls Jim into the room for an update, the doctor informs Jim and Pam of some news, which is that Pam is pregnant. So then they lose the game, but she's pregnant. So yay!
That's the main thing. You do love The Office, don't you?
I do love The Office. There's so much in it. You just need to give it a go, man.
I know. But there's, as you say, there's just so many things to fucking watch. And including rewatches, Gilmore Girls, Will and or Grace.
Yes. And whilst we have similar tastes in some things, we have very, very separate tastes in lots of things as well. So sometimes we come together and we love the same things like deeply, but sometimes we're very, very opposite about the things that we love.
Yeah, agree.
I respect that about you.
I've just started recently doing Roseanne again. Did I tell you that?
No, I don't think that you did. I think you said you wanted to do it. I didn't know that you'd started again.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
I would do Roseanne. Actually, I think Tyler would really enjoy Roseanne, don't you think?
Oh, it's good fucking old school comedy, yeah. Yeah, he'd probably like it.
He does love old school comedy. He would love Dan.
Yeah, well, we all love Dan, although I hated his hair. Anyway.
I would have absolutely given him one without a doubt. For
Really?
years, I was in love with him. Yeah, for years.
Apparently, all the cast were Roseanne and Darlene and Becky all loved Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the best. John Goodman. He's the fucking best. Best of the best.
Very funny. All right. So, should we now move on to the top 10 pop culture things that have occurred over the last 100 years?
We should indeed. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I'll start and then I'll parlay to you, and then we can just do a twos and phrases.
Let's do a bottle check, shall we? How much have you got left of your bottle?
Why won't it show in front of me?
Can you see mine? Because I've taken my selfie off. Hang on, let me just do my view. You need to.
Oh, it's because it's green. Okay, I've got that much.
Okay, I still can't see it.
A quarter.
Put it in front of your face.
Yeah, but no, because it's green, it keeps disappearing.
I've got less than a quarter. I've got this much.
And I got that much in my glass. All right.
Drink up, bitch.
I'm pacing myself. We've still
Skull
got
that bit, and then fill it up.
We've still got a bit more to go.
You are such a fucking piss weak drinker.
How dare you? That is actually offensive. You said that right to my fucking face, and you said it like you believed it.
I do mean it. Skull that last bit and fill your glass.
I need this for the second half of the episode.
But you've got more than me left.
I got that much. And my bottle's slimmer than yours.
Boo.
So anyway, I'm going to go with my first pop culture moment. And look, to be completely transparent with our listeners, I did ask ChatGPT for this information and it gave me the headlines. We've done our own research amongst it, but this is one of the ones.
Have we done?
Madonna's Like a Virgin at the MTV VMAs in 1984. Madonna's career-defining moment came during the inaugural MTV Video Music Awards. The first one was 1984. Dressed in a bridal gown,
I did this also in a podcast episode a while ago. I forget what one it was. It was a pop culture thing, and I also did a little bit of it. Yeah, it was. I can't believe you didn't remember that. My God.
It obviously didn't hit the mark. So, dressed in a bridal gown, she rolled around on stage, causing both scandal and admiration. This performance cemented Madonna as a pop provocateur. And from that point, she continually pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable in pop music. This performance was also significant in MTV's rise as a cultural force, making the awards show a platform for artists to create iconic moments. Madonna's influence on fashion, music, and gender norms made her an enduring cultural icon. What are your favorite Madonna songs, please?
Oh, it's hard to say. I can't go past Material Girl because that's how I was introduced to Madonna in all her glory. But I do feel like a Prayer is one of the all-time greats. But I'm also partial to a little bit of Ray of Light. I'm just going to put it out there. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's still up there for me.
That's good.
What about the album before Material Girl? What's the one on it that everyone loved? Not Lucky, but there was another one, the lovey-dovey one.
Well, I've got a few, so I'll say mine, see if it's any of those. But I'd say my intro to Madonna was definitely Papa Don't Preach.
I'm in trouble. Papa don't preach. I've been losing sleep.
So mine are really slow ones. But
my baby.
Ooh, I do love a ballad, please. This one knows. So my favorites are You'll See. You'll See. Do you know the song?
I think I do, but no. What's the one?
No. We're doing mine first, so we can do you. What's the ones?
I know the one that you're gonna do, and I want you to know that I know that one.
And then my other one is
from the movie that you love.
This used to be my playground.
This is what I'm talking about. This used to be my childhood dream.
This used to be the place I ran to. And my other one is Crazy for You.
That's the one I was thinking of.
And I used to play the Immaculate Collection constantly on tape, which has
what about Live to Tell? Live to Tell is also
1,000
insane.
There's so many good ones, but there's some of my faves and some of yours. All right, you're next. What's your
Borderline?
No, off Madonna now. Top 10 a bitch. Stick to the formula.
Okay, I'm going to step away from some pop culture in terms of, the typical pop culture. And I'm going to talk about the moon landing broadcast, please. Because, I wasn't alive. I know you were. I wasn't.
I was directing the space shuttle.
And, I'd love to hear all the conspiracy theories that it didn't really happen. And there's also a film, if you know the film, that it says it never happened because it's bullshit.
It's a recent film, isn't it?
It's the one with Matthew McConaughey where he goes through the thing. What is that movie?
I don't know.
Anywho, but there's lots of,
Do you know my mother worked on the moon landing?
Yes, the site in Australia. I do know, and they made the movie The Dish out of it.
Yes, because we were closest. Australia's more positioned to the moon when it was happening. So she did the data entry that enabled didn't enable, but she contributed to.
God, she had a crazy life, didn't she?
I know, right?
Oh, I hope someone says that about me someday. Like, God, she had a crazy life and she did all these things. They said about you
today, Dales. They said about you these days. The amount of times I've heard, Jesus Christ, that guy is a crazy cat. She's had some life. I say you're right. You're right. She has.
She's had some shenanigans, that's for sure.
Damn fucking straight.
On July 20, 1969, the world collectively held its breath as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon. Did they, though? It's hard to say. I believe in my heart that they did, but...
I do too. But who knows?
An estimated 600 million people watched the event live, the largest television audience in history at that point. It was huge.
Yeah.
The landing wasn't just a technological feat. It was a triumph for the human spirit during a time of Cold War tensions because Russia tried to get there first.
The moon wars.
The moon landing's influence stretched far beyond science and technology, impacting art, culture, and the belief in human potential. For many, it was proof that the impossible could become the possible, which is why it makes me really sad to think that it may not be true, because considering how aggressive that war was at the time, they would do anything to one-up each other, but they really didn't have the technology to fake it. Is the thing that I think as well, but then I'm incredibly naive about things that I believe in. So if I think something's true, I'm just like, it's true unless you actually put evidence in front of me to prove differently. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I mean, I can't speak too strongly against the case, but I believe it happened.
Yeah, I'd like to, and even if it didn't, we don't know any better. No one can prove otherwise. Let them have it.
Yeah, exactly. If they put on such a show, they deserve it.
It is what it is.
They got this.
It's a nice feeling.
Exactly.
Go men on the moon.
Walking on the moon. All right, you ready for the next one?
I've been talking to a man on the moon.
I don't know that one. Picture it. The year is 1977. Not only is the world introduced to a wondrous being named Sean Hipkins.
This is the actual year that you were born, yes.
AKA Sean Beano, AKA me.
AKA the stupidest bitch that ever lived. AKA what a silly pig.
Such a silly pig, eh? Wearing flower crowns. Pigs don't wear crowns.
Pigs don't
you
wear
silly
crowns,
pig.
you silly pig.
But also, it was the year that the Star Wars universe became a reality. As in, like, a reality on our screens.
God, the bane of my existence, I swear to God.
Released on May 25, not 16, Maria, 1977.
Sorry, Maria. For one time in our podcast, we're not talking about May 16. Listen to the podcast, God damn it. We talk about you constantly.
Star Wars A New Hope, which was just actually called Star Wars at the time. It was given the title Chapter 4 A New Hope when it was
Much
re-released
later.
when it was re-released in theaters on the 10th of April 1981 to align with the titling of the sequel Star Wars Episode 5 Empire Strikes Back, which was released in 1980.
He really thought it was his one shot in the dark, didn't he? He didn't really think he was going to go on to take over the world.
Global success. So we had both Star Wars movies released during our year of birth, please. Empire Strikes Back was 1980. Star Wars 77.
I know what year I was born. Thanks very much for just checking in with me there.
Clarify. I didn't know if you were still fucking on
Sure, I wasn't born in 1999.
Oh, you wish. And was your husband even born then? He was, wasn't he?
He was
Be
born
more
in
age
98.
appropriate. Oh,
he was born in 98, the year after I graduated high school. Just in case, listeners at home are following.
Are unaware. Well, look, and if you are unaware, just listen to some older episodes where we give her plenty of shtick over this.
Shtick, if you will.
Anyways, it transformed the movie industry. Before Star Wars, the summer movie season was typically a dead zone. But the film's special effects, universe building, and timeless good versus evil narrative became a huge, massive, if you will, success, grossing over $775 million globally.
Wow.
Back in the day. It revolutionized the way movies were marketed, making action figures, video games, and other merchandise key parts of a film's legacy. Star Wars birthed a new era of blockbuster cinema and created one of the most devoted fan bases in pop culture history. Nothing like the fan base for Stupid Bitches Say What. Shout out, guys. Thanks for listening.
Totes.
We'd appreciate more gifts in the mail, FYI.
We want our $70 billion, please.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Given that it's now, 30 odd years,
they don't
47
make movies
years
like that anymore, do they? And I hear my parents say that all the time, and I'm like, they used to say that when I was younger. Oh, the movies these days are bullshit.
You know why? It's because when we watch a theme of a movie, of a good versus evil or a love story or something like that, it's for the first time. So we're super invested into it. Oh my God, he's going to break her heart. Oh my God, he leaves her. And they've already seen that type of story 30 times beforehand. And their version was so much better. Even though it's the same shit, it's just modernized.
But it's like us trying to watch black and white films. Like I hear about people saying, "Oh, this amazing film,
Citizen Kane, the most amazing
and
movie
I'm just
of all
like,
time."
Ugh, ick. I don't want to watch a black and white. Come on, I grew up in the time of color TV.
Yeah, I can see in color. It's a thing. All right, you're next.
Okay, so once again, I'm going to segue out of media. TV and movies.
Film.
And I'm going to talk about Diana, Princess of Wales, marrying Prince Charles in 1981. I was a tiny, tiny babe in arms.
Nice.
You were much older. On July 29th, 1981, around 750 million people across 74 countries tuned in to watch Lady Diana Spencer marry Prince Charles. And do you know what I was thinking before I was doing this? I was like, we've done the royals, we've done Princess Diana on the podcast. Geez, we've covered some fucking topics, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
So listeners, you guys really need to message us and tell us about the topics that we haven't covered yet and give us more ideas. Not that we're running out, pray tell. We would never do that. We'll still keep them coming.
Hell no, pray tell.
But, we've covered a lot of stuff. We've learned a lot of stuff these 100 years of ours.
We have indeed.
Anywho, it was dubbed the wedding of the century. Diana's fashion sense and her warmth immediately captivated the world, turning her into a global icon. Yes, she was indeed. However, the wedding also had a darker side, as Diana later revealed her struggles with the pressure of royal life. Totes. I've seen it in The Crown Plus. Even after her tragic death in 1997, Tyler wasn't even a thought in the world then.
Jesus.
Princess Diana's influence on celebrity culture, fashion, and charitable work continues to be well Fuck you.
So my next one is going back into the fold of musical pop culture.
Of course it is.
The Beyonce surprise album dropped in 2013 on the 13th of December 2013. Beyonce
I'm glad you did this one because I was like, what? Was it? I must have slept through it all.
Look, I'm not going to lie.
What was I doing in December 2013?
If this was Gaga or Taylor Swift, I'd be like, oh yeah, I totally remember.
2013, how old were we then? 2013, I would have been 33 because it's always...
Yeah. And I was 37, 36.
33. What was I doing then? Because I don't recall it at all.
2013.
I missed the memo.
It was a year before Vinny and I got married, so you were in Thornside. But I also missed the memo. I wasn't so much into it. So, Beyonce released her self-titled album with no prior announcements or promotion, breaking the industry's traditional album release model. This surprise drop not only shocked fans, but it also changed the way artists approached releasing music. The album's mix of visuals and music, alongside its themes of feminism, relationships, and personal empowerment, made it one of the most significant releases of the decade. Yeah, but we're talking about the 100 years, because I'm sure that the Beatles did, I think it was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Band. They didn't actually release any singles from it. They just got it all from the fucking album release, if that makes any sense.
It's hard to say. Whatsoever. I don't go into it, but sure.
Since then, other artists like Drake, Kanye West, and Taylor Swift have followed suit with surprise releases, showing the lasting impact of Beyonce's move. Fave Beyonce song, please?
To the left. Everything you own in the box to the left.
Halo. Every time I hear that song. Dun, dun, dun. Do you know it?
Yeah, I do. Look, I'm not a massive Beyonce fan except for her very, very early stuff. And I'm not talking Destiny's Child. I'm talking about her very first OG album on her own. I did enjoy that a lot. But since then, she's not my kind of music, really.
Well, look, typically it's not my fave, but there are some good songs. Halo, fucking love Halo. I could see a halo. And If I Were a Boy.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I do love that song. Yeah.
Plus loads of Destiny's songs.
But If I Was a Boy wasn't that album either, though. So what was on that album?
I'm not sure. I was just saying some of my favorite Beyonce songs.
Don't.
All right, continue. You're next.
Okay, so what's my next one? Well, you said it, so I'm going to start with that. The Beatles' American debut in 1964. I'm not going to talk about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club because I didn't put it in my notes because I just copied the notes that you sent to me. So refer back to How's Your Week Been? How much work I've done this week. The Beatles arrived in the US during a time when the country was still reeling from the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Really? I didn't know that. I'm reading this for the first time clearly. So JFK was assassinated and then the Beatles came.
I thought
the Beatles were before JFK.
When was JFK?
Well, if you got it off ChatGPT, then it must be right.
Assassinated. So he was assassinated in 1963. So
there you go.
Yeah.
The performance on the Ed Sullivan Show on February 9th, 1964 marked the beginning of the British invasion. Wow, it was a really great time for them. Around 73 million people tuned in, making it one of the most watched TV broadcasts at the time. The Beatles not only became a music phenomenon, but also shaped fashion, youth culture, and attitudes towards the counterculture movement of the 1960s. Very much before our time, but I still love a good Beatles song.
Thank you for recognizing the fact that I wasn't born in the 60s.
It's my time.
I think that's the first time.
I still love a good Beatles song.
Oh,
I
me
don't
too.
think anyone can dislike any of the Beatles songs, really.
Oh, we can
Like,
dislike some of them, but you've
oh,
got to
tell me
have at
one that you
least a couple.
dislike.
Well, list them and I'll tell you.
Exactly. You can't think of one that you hate, though. Whereas
I
if
don't.
someone says to me
Yeah,
AC/DC, I'm like, ugh, yeah, gross. Not
yeah.
into it. Not my
Eleanor Rigby,
thing.
great song.
Great
Eleanor
song.
Rigby.
Great song. And also, you talked about it before, but I haven't, it's not in my notes, but Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club.
Yeah. Help!
This,
I need
yeah,
somebody. Help!
help.
Not just anybody.
Have you seen Backbeat, the one with Stephen Dorff, where they talk about how they became the Beatles? That's a good movie. It's an
No, I
old
have not.
movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen Yesterday either.
But they're all iconic in their own rights. Look at Paul McCartney; he's still kicking along. He's still
He is.
carrying the lamp for everybody.
He is.
John Lennon, what a legend.
Yes. May rest
Also,
in peace.
you can't say an assassination if you weren't a president, right? But he was, murdered.
Can you not? I never realised that.
Well, I'm making an assumption. I thought assassination meant that you were a political figure to be assassinated, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's a huge assumption.
When can you use the term assassinate? To murder a usually prominent person by sudden or secret attack, often for political reasons.
Oh, well, I guess maybe you could say that John Lennon was assassinated, but they normally say assassination when it is a political figure, I thought. But from your description, doesn't mean that it's exclusive.
That's right.
But I always thought assassination referred to
because I've only ever heard it
people in power.
The assassination of it's usually political persons. All right, so my next and final one is the rise of social media influencers, 2010s. With the rise of platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, the 2010s saw a shift in how celebrity and influence were defined. Regular people became global influencers by sharing content on fashion, beauty, gaming, and/or lifestyle. The ability of these influencers to engage directly with their audiences, combined with brands' eagerness to tap into this new form of marketing, created a billion-dollar industry. Influencers have since reshaped trends in industries ranging from beauty and fashion to food and fitness, leaving a mark on modern culture, which they have really.
What about tiny food?
What's tiny food?
Continue, then I'm going to say some stuff about tiny food.
This is one that kind of started after. This is one that kind of started after our generation. So obviously we know what and who some influencers are, but I think for millennials in particular and those after that, it was more of a cult following that they made happen with influencers. And we'd always find out about them, but it was all generally after they were no longer cool. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of influencers I know of. I was going to say Ray Charles, James Charles, a bit like a fashion men doing makeup. The chick that did that show that was on Netflix that I fucking loved. Everyone hates you or something, or everyone thinks you suck or something like that. About the chick Miranda sings really
but
badly.
you're talking about stuff that actual people have talent in. What about the people who are actual shit? What about when you see a Facebook video come up and you watch it because it looks a little bit intriguing, and then you watch it and you're like, I can't believe I just watched this and I gave them a view and it is the worst video that I've ever seen. And that is the tiny food thing where the people, have you never, I've sent you some of these videos.
Like tiny sushi,
the tiny burgers in the tiny kitchen, and they get a delivery and they knock, knock, knock at the tiny door, and the tiny door opens and there's a tiny Amazon package, and they take the tiny Amazon package with tweezers out, and then they make a burger like it's real meat and got a tiny cherry tomato, and they slice the top off and they put a tiny bit of lettuce.
But people are fucking
and
millions of people are watching it.
And then don't get me started. It is the thing that makes me most angry. It's not the thing that makes me most angry in the world, but I have, and maybe it's the tall poppy syndrome, and that's out of our generation. So maybe, it is a part of that. But I literally think people who make their money out of Instagram are the worst people in the world.
Well, I think
for stupid shit.
they're clever in the
You know what?
fucking sense that they've got it done. But there's certain things on Instagram, like I hate, there's one where you see this person just pouring cleaning product after cleaning product after cleaning product into the toilet. So it's this big colorful mess. And so, but what's the purpose of this? I don't understand it.
And they
They
make
annoy
money
me.
off that. And they
Yeah.
also already live in very rich houses. What about the chick? Have you ever seen the chick who has a whole fridge designated to ice? So she just makes ice. She buys like all this food and she washes it and she scrubs all that. She puts like all these, chemicals on it to clean the fruit. And then she chops it up and then she puts it into different ice cubes and makes different ice shapes. And she has one whole fridge in her house. And she's not one person. There's thousands of these out there, thousands
Jesus.
of them. And they just have these fridges dedicated to ice cubes or ice shapes with different things in it. And then they go, oh, I'm having a party. I'm going to make a cocktail. I'm going to put this, couple of blueberries and a strawberry in it that I made of ice. And look at my fridge where all the ice things. It's like, for starters, you don't have that many friends.
Yeah.
For starters,
No one likes you. And if
you
they do,
might
it's because
have
you're rich now.
parties. Exactly. And they might come over because you're rich, but no one's going to come up to you and be like, hey, you've got this really cool ice fridge full of fruit and vegetables and, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to make these cocktails because also, who wants to make that many cocktails? Because cocktails are exhausting.
Totally. Unless you're working behind the bar and you're not
You're
drinking
getting
and you're
paid
serving
for
me,
that.
I don't want to make them.
I'll make one. I'll make you one cocktail, but after that, you're up, man.
You're on
It
your
goes
own.
around.
You're on your own.
Everyone has a go.
You have to admit though, like there's obviously an audience for this shit that people fucking are able to exploit.
I think it is. This is why I say apocalypse needs to happen. And you were giving me shit before because I was like, the hurricane's coming in. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Let's get lock the battens down. Because there's some fucking bullshit things happening in the world where
That's what I thought
we
COVID
are
was meant to sort
obsessed
out.
with. And I watched those videos. I watched the tiny burger videos.
Well, then you're part of the problem. You're going to get done by Hurricane Mikey or whatever it's called.
I'm okay with that.
No, I'm not okay with that. The podcast. What about the podcast? We need to get to season 10, for God's sake.
It first started though. I remember going over to my nieces, like my sister's house with my nieces, and the shows that they used to watch. You probably maybe have had a little bit of exposure with it with Heidi. Maybe, but she likes really cool stuff. Heidi's really into super cool
She would
stuff.
sit there and watch YouTube videos of people playing games
Or
something.
opening packages.
Yeah, with stuff in there. Yeah.
Or there's like a whole household and all the kids and they have like a slime fight and then the whole family is like, and then they force each other to eat slime. They trick each other to eat slime and they've got like, 100 million views and stuff like that. And then they make all this money, but all they do is like force each other to eat slime.
Yeah.
And,
not
make
producing quality content like this.
Pancakes out of slime and then feed it to the dog and stuff. That's how they make money.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
It's insane.
And we allow it though. We make them make money that way.
Oh yeah. I watch the tiny burgers and I watch the ice fridge.
I love watching people unpack shit in their super convenient house. And they have like somewhere they put their shoes, and then they have all these things where they put their pellets into these fucking clear glasses. So just have everything super
organized. Asian ones, where the Asian ones go to the camping place and they blow up the thing and then they make the marshmallow toasters and they have all the snack things and they put all the snacks in. Do you know what I love, which is so insane, you're going to like laugh your ass off? I love the cleaning ones where they deep clean stuff. And I'm like, I could never clean my house like that.
And the fact she doesn't even wear gloves doing some of it too.
Have you seen the ones where they manicure the dogs? Have you seen the one where they've got the dog and they literally give it a spa treatment in their own house and they like clip their nails, they pedicure their nails, they wash them, they blow dry their hair, they put all the gels in their hair, and then they like paint the nails and then they like massage them and the dog's just like, yeah, give it to me.
And we watch that and make the money by watching it. I know, it's hardcore.
What is wrong with us?
I know, it's our fault.
It is totally our fault.
It is.
It's the worst thing ever.
All right.
Okay, my last one is from 1983. Still a tiny baby toddler I was. You were much older.
I was a full-fledged adult at that
You
stage. I was
were
voting and everything.
yeah. You were in prep. You were like grade 1 and shit. Michael Jackson performed the moonwalk for the very first time during his Billie Jean performance at Motown's 25th anniversary special on March 25, 1983.
Oh, nearly my birthday.
I wasn't even 3 then. I was
Well,
2 and a
I
bit.
just turned 6.
So you were at school.
Yeah.
The dance move became his signature and further elevated his status as the king of pop. The moment revolutionized live performances and set the standard for music video choreography. Jackson's blend of music and dance captivated audiences globally, influencing future generations of performers. Blah, blah, blah. There's a list of performers that he influenced, but did he? But
Dave Bieber.
I will say one thing. Do you remember when the black and white song came out?
Oh, yeah. That was like 93, 92, 94.
Do you remember when it was like, you need to be home at this time?
Yes.
Because it's
It was
happening.
a huge special. Yeah.
This song is coming out globally and everybody needs to be in their houses watching it. And I remember watching it when it came out. And it was,
me too.
Was it
they
Pepsi
had it behind
or
the
Coke?
scenes. Oh,
it was Pepsi, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think there was a behind the scenes thing about how they morphed it. And that's when Terminator 2 came out using the same technology, or he used the same technology as Terminator 2.
And you had to watch through all the Pepsi ads and leading up to the whole like global thing, it was like all these Pepsi ads with Michael in the background and all this stuff. And it was like, and I think Macaulay Culkin was in it a little bit too, wasn't he?
He would have been.
He was in the Pepsi ads and
promos,
stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, we were in Australia, which was like,
it took a week.
We didn't have anything here that was like crazy. And
I used to have to wait a week before a Survivor episode came out. And I'd always find out who got voted out because I'd get on the internet and I couldn't wait. It was so
But that was way before this. Survivor wasn't out when... Yeah, but Survivor wasn't out when that black and white video came out.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. So like it shows you how if that was black and white was before then, we were still waiting an episode a week behind in 2000 for episodes from the US.
Oh no, we sat down to it when the world sat down to it though.
Yes, yeah. I watched that black special
and white.
when it came out. Yeah,
and it was like that all that build up, like you said, and then it was the video, and we were just like, "Whoa, this is the best video I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah,
and you just completely like, this is everything. And everyone talked about it at school. It was like, oh my God.
See, Michael I feel very conflicted when it comes to Michael Jackson.
Oh, completely. Everybody does.
Neverland. I don't know if everyone does, but I've watched Finding Neverland. So there's all that allegations that are out there against him. But I do have to say he was a very talented man. And if you've ever seen the film clip of where he actually did the moonwalk for the first time, at that thing, it's pretty fucking impressive, and the crowd just goes ballistic going, what the fuck is he doing? Because he's just sliding across the thing like it's not even moving.
I agree with that. I don't think he left a very good legacy behind though. And I feel okay in saying that. Like, I just think, yuck. Totally. Yeah. But I do remember where I was at the time when that black and white video came out. And that wasn't his first video. That was, way into his career. And it was iconic for us, especially in Australia, being included in something like that.
Yeah.
But no, certainly, I think ick. Yeah. And there's no denying the ick. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. But there are still people out there that'll be willingly listen to turn a blind eye to it.
Look, I can't help still loving some of his music. I certainly don't put it on willingly, but I do love The Man in the Mirror.
I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
He's got so many good songs, and it's just so sad that, yes, you can't really enjoy his music anymore without
that being a back thought.
Yuck. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on to something more positive. We're now at the moment where we both have to give a 100-second spiel on our favorite episodes. So you've got to time me and cut me out when it gets to 100 seconds. Tell me when to go.
Right. But also, we must both agree that we're not going to talk through it because that's going to.
Oh, yes. No,
Yes.
I think that you need to hear that.
No, I think you're going to want to talk through mine massively.
You can leave comments for the end. So do you both want to do, I do my 100-second spiel, then we chat, then you do yours, or do you want to
Definitely
chat at the end of both 100? No,
no,
we'll
I
chat
feel like
after
we're going
each
to
one.
chat in the middle. Okay, ready? I will say 1, 2, 3, go.
So it took me a while to decide on this episode, and typically I'd like to choose a true crime app, but thought that even though I enjoy doing them, I thought if I'd said one of them as my fave, it might be a bit not kosher. So anyways, I'm going to go with episode 30 on Caesar and Cleopatra. A good old back in time app, if you will. It's one that I always tend to think as a fave. The reason why is I found it both entertaining and informative, plus. I loved my intro to Caesar about the salads and the fun facts about the cesarean birth, etc. But I also loved how our stories connected, flowing from the time as Julius being leader and his downfall, ete brute, and then intertwining with your story about Cleopatra. I love the facts she had about Cleopatra's childhood and how politically savvy and ruthless she was about making sure she would become the ruler of Egypt over her brothers, marrying them and murdering them. Also, the sheer divaness of her arrivals on parade floats and boats with musicians and the sweet smell of incest. Your words, not mine, please. The love story with her and Mark Anthony, and her final death clutching an asp, as per popular belief, but knowing, thanks to your story, that she actually poisoned herself. I thought overall the episode was fun, informative, and very much entertaining, please. I also can't believe that that was 70 episodes ago. It doesn't seem like that long ago. And that's my time check. What's that at?
Oh my God, you had nearly 10 seconds to spare.
Jesus.
And you were talking really quick too.
I did rush it. Okay, so, and the other thing I liked about it was awesome promos that were developed for it and posted on Instagram.
It was one of my favorite episodes too. And I went deep because I knew that you thought I was going to do the Urban Legends, which is also an amazing episode. If you guys are listening and you haven't heard it, please listen because it's funny as fuck. It's probably up there with one of our top episodes, but I didn't want to do it because I knew that you would have expected me to do it. And then I went deep, and then I was going to do this episode. I was going to do the Cleopatra and Julius Caesar one too. And that's why I messaged you. And I was like, before I decide that I'm going to do it, I'm going to check what you were doing. And you were already doing it.
You're welcome.
But everything that you said was totally accurate. It was really difficult for me not to jump in and talk over you.
It was a fun episode though, wasn't it? It used to be our most listened to episode, but now it's our second most listened to episode.
Oh, what's our first?
So our first now by about 6 plays is the Rockhampton Rapist and the Beaumont Children.
Oh wow, that's surprising.
I know, I was surprised by that too. But not surprised because our true crime apps are pretty massive, aren't they? Our biggest
they
ones.
are, except when we get roasted on fucking YouTube for not being factual.
Ned Kelly didn't do this.
I nearly was going to do the Ned Kelly one.
All right, so
I'm worried now because I timed it and it was really short, so I added a bit in, and then I didn't have time to time it before you messaged me, so I'm not sure. You might have to call it, but I don't want to call it. I don't want to talk too quick either.
Well, I'm going to call it at 100.
Okay. All right. No, you got to call it 100. Yeah, so it's 1 minute 40, right? Is the 100?
1 minute 20. Oh no, 1 minute 40. Yeah, 60
yeah,
seconds.
I was going to say you made 1 minute 30.
Oh, I timed myself at 1 minute 20. That's why I was like,
you went 1 minute 31.
All right, you ready?
So I thought it was 1 minute 42.
It is 1 minute.
Okay, go.
40. Go.
I just want to start by saying I had a whole bunch of fave episodes and it took me a while to narrow it down. I was going to do Urban Legends, but we always talk about that. So I decided on a very old episode, 26, in fact, if you will, in our old format of back in time episodes, which was The Lost Colony of Roanoke and The Salem Witch Trials. It's also our second ep in a double. And I must say, we seem very sober. This is how the episode starts. You're not supposed to talk. So you need to give me more time for that. This week, we go back in time. Sean takes us back to the late 50s when the British were colonizing America. A fucking long time ago. A small settlement in Roanoke just up and vanished without a trace. And I take us back to the late 1600s and get all witchy poo with the Salem witch trials. Buckle up, bitches. Let's do history. I feel like our intros used to be way more scandalized. When do we become such squares? Anywho, the episode also features me being very skeptical of what actually happened to the Roanoke tribe and you being incredibly annoying and not able to say Massachusetts or archaeological. P.S. I was drinking a Sangiovese and you tried to say that you had drunk it and I called you out as a fucking liar because I had brought you your first Sangiovese for your birthday, please, and this episode aired in May. Also, I'm adding this last bit because you made me time this segment. It's not quite 100 seconds. So whilst I commented on a sober state at the beginning of the ep, we are definitely incredibly inebriated by about 15 minutes in. Also, you also couldn't say academic. Maybe I should just have done 100 seconds on the word that we mispronounce, lols. We debate for a while the likely outcome of the colony with me insisting enthusiastically any chance that I get that they just decided to leave, please. You also have trouble saying substantiated and disappearance.
Nope. And I gave you an extra 6 seconds. I believe anyone that listens to episode 26 will realize that you're the fucker that couldn't say Massachusetts, not me. You had me in hysterics.
That's a lie because you also couldn't say substantiated, disappearance, and academic and archaeological.
Yeah, but you're the one who couldn't say Massachusetts. That's why I made you say it. We should have done 100
seconds on the times that we mispronounce words.
There'd be plenty. Or that we'd say the wrong word when I was talking about the Port Arthur massacre and I kept calling it Port Douglas.
I love that you couldn't contain yourself during that. Even though I smiled and gave hand gestures, I never butted into your 100 seconds and you couldn't help yourself. You had to butt into my 100 seconds. You couldn't even stop yourself.
I gave facts in mine. You said lies in yours. And yes, I did have a knee-jerk reaction to defend myself.
I warned you. I said that I'm going to say things and you're not going to be okay with it and you're going to have to shut your mouth and you still couldn't do it.
Because you spouted lies.
Couldn't give me my 100 seconds of fame.
You said lies, damn it, lies. Butt in. That's rich.
The time for butting in was after my 100 seconds.
I know. I did. Look, if anyone watches the video, they will see me say something, go, oh, I put my hand over my mouth.
It's too late. I lost my train of thought.
I gave you an extra 6.25 seconds, which was very generous, I feel.
No, but I feel like I stumbled over that after that. So it totally threw me off my game and I needed at least another 10 seconds.
It's not my fault if you can't be professional enough.
It's not my fault if you can't shut your mouth.
You and Vinny have the same sort of ideas around my mouth. Maybe not all the ideas.
What about the bit I say, I feel like our intros used to be so much more scandalized. When did we become such squares?
It's interesting, though, that my favorite episode's episode 30, yours is 26, and that's from around the same season. Obviously.
Yeah, but Urban Legends is quite later, and I was gonna do the Ned Kelly.
That must be season 3, I would say, and we're up season 9, and those episodes still ring clear in our mind 6 seasons later.
There was so many that I thought about doing too. Like I wanted to do like the Ned Kelly and the Gold Rush. That I wanted to do. There was heaps of true crime, and I was like, "Ooh, that's such a true crime." But I thought that you would do a true crime, so I was like, "No, I can't do a true crime because you're totally gonna do it." But there was heaps, and I was like, "Shit, I forgot that we did this. Oh my god, I forgot that we did this."
Yeah, it'd be good to go back and listen to the catalog myself because I don't listen to them after I've edited them and released them anymore. It's just like, it was just a thing. But I think I could go back and start listening to the beginning. And I think everyone should.
Yes, definitely. Come
Listen
on,
to
that's why we're
one.
doing our 100 episodes, guys. We're like totally plugging it so guys can all go back right to the beginning.
It's a very good place to start.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone, to our very special episodes, 100 eps. So it's a big achievement. I'm really proud of our little podcast for getting that far.
I'm really proud too.
Yeah,
just started cool. One time during COVID where we're drunk talking to each other all the time. It was back on Facebook Messenger back in those days.
Yes.
We didn't pay for a subscription to Zoom or Canva.
No. And do you remember the fucking, the trials and tribulations we had at the very beginning with getting the recordings when we used to do it on Skype? And Skype was a fucking nightmare. Then
getting our sound right.
We tried Teams for a bit.
Yeah.
And then we went to Zoom. And then Zoom
Teams
brought in
made
a
you
thing.
start to pay. And then Zoom made you have to pay.
Yeah, after 90 minutes or 45 minutes. And how many times did we start recording again and I hadn't hit record and we'd have to do it again?
Redo it.
Bless, we've come a long way. My whole Watergate scandal, I had to redo the whole fucking thing.
Oh God, I remember that one.
And I had to
I still had to remember my same jokes.
And laugh when it was meant to be funny and shit. God, that was a nightmare. And now we're paying for Zoom subscription and Canva out of our own godforsaken money.
Donate to us. No, we don't have anywhere for you to donate. Yeah. We're not going to be those donate people.
Buy us a drink.
We just want you to share it. We just want you to tell your friends and make us super famous. You know,
the hilarity that is.
YouTube can make people famous from kids opening toys. Come on, we're funnier than that.
We do a lot more research than opening a present.
We're better than Tiny Burgers. Come on.
And cleaning products. Did I tell you what Belinda said to me when I mentioned the Menendez brothers to her?
I can't remember.
Sent her a text a couple of weeks ago and I was like, you have to watch the Menendez brothers, Ryan Murphy's version of it, rah, rah. She's like, oh, okay. I know about the Menendez brothers. That's why I saw it come up. I was like,
she became obsessed, didn't she?
Well, she was like, I'm just like, I've heard about it. Why do I need to watch it? So I said, watch it. And then, because he did the first one on Jeffrey Dahmer. It's a bit more gruesome, but it's still great. If you love it, watch it. And then next year he's doing Ed Gein. But but I said, but I just did a podcast episode on Ed Gein, which I think you get next week, people at home. And I said,
gruesome, guys, it's gruesome.
Listen to it before you research on him, but he's pretty fucking hectic. And she goes, ooh, I'm behind 2 episodes, but I'm going to listen to them both tomorrow. Why tomorrow, I hear you ask? Which is something we do. She goes, because I've got a new staffer coming in. I want her to listen to it so she can be like, oh, this is funny. I'm going to start subscribing to this podcast. I was like, oh, thank you, Billy.
I love that, BB. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was very cool. But yes, thanks for listening
to our 100th episode.
We've
loved bringing it to you 100 times.
Me too. I was even thinking this week, recording this one, doing the one a week has just sort of taken so much pressure off the stories, and I'm not like, oh fuck, and now I just feel really chill going into it and enjoying it. It's great.
I think so too. I think we tried to, we've tried many different methods over the time, because we've been doing it for a while. We've been doing it for 3 years now.
Yeah, God almighty.
And we have tried a few methods, but I feel like, one a week is better.
We're on a bit of a winner.
But it's hard. We've got to just we've got to record super early because we have live stuff.
And I still think it's good doing a couple of Fridays. It's first 2 Fridays in a row, doing a couple of doubles just to get that bank build up, and then it's not week after week after week. Sort of gives us that breathing.
Yeah, agree.
But yeah. Anyway, no, it's been fun. And thank you, my dear Scully Colette.
Oh, thank you.
What a pleasure.
It's a joy to be here.
Who would have thought we would have made 100 fucking episodes?
I know. Thank you also, my dear co-horse.
Co-horse. That's what she said.
Can I ride you?
Save a cowboy.
Giddy up!
Yes, but good night, everyone. And tune in next week for our true crime. And it's one of my gruesome ones. I'm allowed 2 a season. This is one of them.
But it's mostly dead people, so it's not as bad.
Yeah, still gruesome.
It's still super gross. I'll say 1 word. Nipple belt.
I'll say 2 words, 3 words, 4 words, 7. Nipple belt is in the promo.
I know. I was thinking, what did I do that week? I can't remember. That wasn't the Red Barn murders.
No, it was fucking Amber Lynn. Took an axe. Oh, no.
No,
the one who took an axe.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden. Anne Boleyn took
an
axe.
I didn't. No, Lizzie Borden was the other week. That wasn't the same week as Ed Gein, was it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Because we
Lucy
said that
Borden
we
took
both
an
did.
axe, gave
Give
her
her father
mother 40 whacks.
41
When she saw that she had done, gave her mother 40 whacks. No, it was her mother first. You did it
was.
wrong.
I know, but you bought into it and changed the words. Just shows how influential I am.
Share and subscribe, please. It's 100 episodes. We deserve your commitment.
We do. And a shout out to Rachel, who is an avid listener and always tells us how hilarious we are. So a special 100th episode thank you to you, Rachel.
Always a listener for 100 more, please.
Good night, you stupid bitches. They can't see you wave. Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.